everybody, and welcome to another week of Doppy's Tryhard Tuesdays, where we learn to try a little bit harder. I am your host, the Grand Wazoo, and sitting here with me is a man we all know, a man we all love. I don't know how else I can introduce him in a way I haven't already. Maybe with trumpets next time, blaring in the background. It is the one and only Grandmaster Flub. How's it going, Flub?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
I found some way to make that unique, because I was going a little too... I was retreading old water or something. And I can't do that. Not with a man like you. But, yeah, anytime, man. So we're back, guys. Another week of learning, loving, and trying to not lose that precious MMR. I did the first two, but I failed miserably at the last one this week. Wazoo's in a bad place in his MMR. Working jobs, going to school. And my MMR is the only thing that suffers. But it's okay. It's okay. I got someone to balance me in Flub. Maybe just by standing by him, I can convince myself I'm a little bit better at the game. But how's your week been in Dota, Flub?
It's been pretty good. Pretty good. I haven't made any strides in my MMR, but it's not always about gaining MMR and losing MMR. It's about trying to learn what the positions are and what to do better. And I've actually gained a lot through just playing with random people. I played with a scrim partner of ours and learned a lot actually just from that. So it's been good. It's been a lot of learning experiences.
Yeah, it's not always about MMR, and this game is, I don't know, it's interesting because it feels like that quote, the more I see, the less I know, kind of. Yeah. Because I feel like I was way more confident in my play a year ago than I am now, because I'm just starting to realize the sheer depth of it. You know what I mean? Just being in the middle of a very deep lake, and it's just all that water is different information you can gather in Dota, in a lake is what it feels like. You can go off in any direction, and you could have development in some different skill of the game. It's very interesting, it's something that continues to grow on me, but I continue to also hate it a little bit, to be honest. It's very much like a friendship or anything else. Not that you hate your friends, but everyone bugs you once you start to spend a large amount of time around them. And it's there's certain things about Dota that I don't know, the community can really grate on you if you're already in a bad funk or something.
Oh yeah, or just the harshness of a game, and making one minor mistake amplifies so much in the game of Dota. Whereas if I was playing Halo or I don't know, some type of shooter, like CS:GO, and I get shot in that game, it's okay, I died once, I'll do better the next.
Then you respawn in 3 seconds and you're back shooting dudes again.
Exactly.
And that's very well thought out in game development. There's different schools of thought in terms of how much you can punish your players for making those mistakes, and it's Dota 2 is probably the only game I've ever played where the one person can so change the outcome of the game for the better or for worse that at times it's kind of unfair how you can lose to one person's mistake in a game development standpoint, because you should get what you put into it back, hopefully, but you don't always with Dota.
Yeah. And it is also that much more rewarding on the other side whenever something does go right. When everything works together, you get 5 people in unison, and everyone has had that game, that perfect, magical, heavenly game that you've had a one of in your whole Dota career. But when that meld comes together and everyone's on the same page, man, there's just something special about being on a team that just kicks ass.
Yeah, speaking of being on a team, there was a huge blog released by Eternal Envy detailing his time with Secret and some of the what he describes as illicit operations going on there. I know you haven't had a chance to look at it, Flub, but I think there's a lot to be said about the current state, the kind of the limbo state some of these teams exist in. They, from an outside perspective, very well look like full functioning corporations, but inside, operations are very still difficult in esports. Lots of people not getting paid and never compensated. You know what I mean? So I would suggest anyone go and check that out. Not to necessarily make any judgments, because I didn't. It's this is EE's not opinion, but his experience. You never know what is going on behind closed doors, and I try not to judge too much when it comes to stuff like that. But it is very elucidating to read something like that and see that even people at the very tip top of this making the real money. I mean, it's still a struggle. It's still something that hasn't fully been regulated or, for lack of a better term, organized or unionized enough for the players to have that support system to help them out. And they are this game. I mean, I will admit it. The pro players are a huge draw to this game because anybody who's sits in a pub and is feeling down like Dendy and free to play or something could just sit in a computer chair and maybe one day become great themselves. And so that dream, I mean, you have to preserve it on either side. And I think it's important to remember that we have a long way to go still.
Oh yeah, it's well, like you were saying, like it's important to keep judgment out of it, in my opinion, as well. But it's also important to stay informed, and it's important to look at what your organization or what your game could be in the future. And it's something that like probably I'm gonna look forward to in the next couple weeks. I'm gonna be looking at this and see, what I can do as a player, as a person who loves the game can bring to this game, and see what we need to call to action for. It's not like I'm like trying to like call all Dota players to this situation, but like
and
if
you're not like, what do they call it, pitchfork hunting or whatever?
Yeah, pitchfork hunting. Thank you.
Whatever, pitchforking or whatever.
Right.
Witch hunting.
Yeah.
We're not saying that either. It's just important to have transparency, I think, when there's large amounts of money going around, and it's something that doesn't happen. I mean, like, Valve has been very good about their payouts, but you've heard about tons of tournaments not paying out and just kind of whatever, and not doing it for a year or two. And that how does that happen when your entire viewer base is based upon, the prize pool? If it was a $10,000 prize pool or a $0 prize pool, people aren't going to play in your tournament. It's that promise and coming up. But that's a different matter entirely. And I don't want to get too far off topic. I just wanted to mention it because it's huge in the Dota sphere right now. This blog EE posts, and it was DDoSed when I went to check, but some nice person on Reddit put a copy down on the first comment. So go take a look and read it. It's a long read, but it's interesting. I mean, it gives you kind of a look into that, So I would suggest reading that. Flub, do you have anything else to add before we move on?
No, just try to look forward to this, guys, or not look forward, but try to read about this and stay informed, because I feel like to make Dota into something that is as serious as a sport, it's important to pay the players. It's important to pay the entertainment that is being provided, and I want this to continue to exist. And I feel like the best way to do that is to just stay informed about these topics and what it could possibly be.
Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself. But moving on, guys, we're going to be talking about strength in the support lane. That's the attribute or support lane. Strength in the safe lane, and it's we're going to talk both supports and carries. Flub's got quite a hero pool playing mid now as well, but we're mainly going to keep it to the safe lane and just kind of talk about what that means. It'll help kind of bring to light different topics that we wanted to outline when it comes to carries. I play a lot of the melee strength heroes, so we thought it would be a good place to jump off. So, Flub, when you're looking at a lane, when do you usually want to draft strength in general?
Well, whenever I'm looking at a lane, and since we're talking about the carry aspect of it, whenever I'm wanting to pick a strength up is when I know that the battle is going to kind of last a decent amount of time, or like I need it to last a decent amount of time. So like if they have a lot of hard hitting people, maybe something like, like Zeus, or something that like with these blasty spells that take a lot of big portion of your damage of your health. You don't want that squishy agility carry, because they're just going to explode. Also, there's certain aspects with strength heroes in the carry position that can kind of lead a fight, or lead a team fight, lead a lane to dominate in, that I try to go towards, like Ursa, for instance. Ursa's kind of one of those heroes. It's like, okay, they picked a lot of melee. It's good to pick him up because you can't man fight an Ursa ever. So let's kind of like push them out of that scenario. So personally, whenever I look for a strength core carry, I'm looking for versatility and the idea of what it can do, and a carry that can stay alive. Because it's not, I mean, it's popular nowadays to do that with like having Elder Titan and stuff like that, add that multiplying effect of damage and just completely erase someone off the side of the map in the first few seconds. But it's not it's not as bad as it used to be. And I feel like sometimes strength carries are picked up for the wrong reason because they are comfortable or because they have
It's
survivability.
probably a crutch. I know it definitely is for me, even at my skill level, because it's like you know something would be good in that moment, but
Mhm.
you aren't confident with that. And so you just go to a comfortable pick that you can just kind of get some farm with, like a Sven or something, you know?
Right, right, and that makes sense because like you're survivable at any moment. But kind of goes into talking about what we talked about last week and the week before is like if you want that lane dominance, sometimes picking up a Sven in lane doesn't really matter anything if you're going up against like a Wind Ranger, for instance, or like a Bat. Like if you go up against Bat Rider, you're gonna have like so much trouble versus that.
And I think that's the thing is, you think I'm so comfortable with this hero that it won't matter, but at least at my skill level. But the game doesn't work like that. You know, it's some things are just inherently strong against other things. So you're saying some good things about when not to pick that stuff up, and you hit on it earlier, and I kind of want to like pull it out of there because I want to underline what you said, and that's that you pick it up when you don't really want to get blown up when there's lots of burst on the table. And you mentioned a Zeus. And this is what I really want to underline, and that's that you didn't mention someone who would be in the off lane. You're looking further ahead. And most people just think of their own lane, and they don't think about the macro effects that it has later on in the game to be able to put up with that burst from the Zeus or the mid or whoever is mid. You know what I mean? Like you are thinking a little bit further ahead to give yourself a better game past just the laning phase.
Yeah, that's a good point because I personally, whenever I look at the game, like, I mean, we talked about it in a lot just as players, me and you, and I feel like a lot of times I look at the game and you look at the game and you're like, okay, it goes this direction, and after a while, like things become like so clear to me that it's hard to like pull stuff out to be like, this is this is why I do it. But then like I don't look at Zeus as like the off lane. I'm thinking like, okay, they have Zeus, Mirana, and Naga or something, and like I have to like I look at the whole team as a whole, and then I see what I can do to push them out in the lane that they have in general. So it's good to look for like what's going to happen in a team fight and base your character around it, but it's also good to have understand the pressure that they give in the lane. So yeah, like people like Zeus, Lena, things like that. These cores that can get like really big, and nasty. It's good to make sure that you not only think about the potential of what they can do in lane, but what they can do whenever the game actually starts to unfold and what they can do to punish your character.
And I mean, you could even make the same argument for agility heroes and when they're picked, and heroes when they're picked, of course. But you also mentioned that like you wouldn't want to pick a weaker blink oriented type hero into something like that with a lot of burst. You wouldn't want the Agi pick because it just nullifies you in a weird way. Like you jump in, you take the damage. Like you would take the damage before you can blink out typically. And so, and with some heroes it doesn't matter, right? You're Zeus, so you can just hit them from anywhere on the map. And that's good to think about. Think about how the other team's built. I mean, you see so many games start with, in my pubs at least, where it's like 5 melee heroes, and this is like an even like more simple dichotomy that you can draw, and that's that people don't think outside of their pick. They don't think about how their pick jives with their team, and they don't think about what the other team's picked in terms of attributes, stats, abilities. And when you sit down and really analyze this stuff, And not just with like a counter picker or something, because that leaves out an entirely human element that you just can't draft for necessarily, because it's just taking that hero's win rates against all the win rates of their other heroes. There's a lot of information not on the table in terms of synergy with the picks on your team. So I think that's an interesting thing to do, is just kind of have that internal dialogue open constantly with yourself, analyzing what it is you are even playing against. When are they strong? What are they doing? What are their abilities? And how? What would you not want to play? And that's something I ask a question to myself a lot. Is like, if I was playing this, what would I not want to play against? Like, what would be the pick that I would absolutely hate to see come out? And then I pick that, and then I feel like I'm winning in the mid game, and then I lose late game because I make bad decisions or something. But I don't know. That's typically the story. What about you, Flub? What do you kind of look at when you are like? Actually, let's roll her back a bit and talk about strength supports or fours and stuff, and what you would typically pick in that situation, or what you would pick to complement the strength.
So what I would pick to complement the strength would be something that can kind of push the person in a way that, whether it's like crowd control or using an ability that saves them, that's like incremental to healing. It's better to have like big heals like Omni Knight, in my opinion, on someone that's like an agi, because it like retroactively gives them that big boost and gives them more damage that they need to just blow up the person faster. So if you're looking at like strength, you want to have someone who kind of like keeps the person at bay. Something like Rubik is actually really strong. Someone who can like manipulate the battlefield and kind of give the strength an option of what is available to the support. Um, if you pick someone that's like very linear and has to work in a certain way with the strength, it's kind of hard to have that diversity, because strength doesn't really offer diversity. They kind of have a certain way that they see the game through. So it's very important to pick up that, or it's very important to pick up what they're lacking for a strength, which most of the time, strength carries a lot of times have really bad like mana pools. So if you can kind of help them out with that, giving them like a CM sometimes is actually pretty decent, especially if you're in a pub. Um, People underrate that hero all the time because she's really easily blown up. But if you could have the situation of giving your entire team mana and helping out in every lane, um, especially when they're not organized to like focus the CM constantly, a hero like that can really have a chance to shine. Um,
It's interesting. There are quite a bit of heroes that, yeah, at least my time in Dota, have like kind of jumped around in terms of what they are in the strength section. Like you saw Night Stalker just a year or so ago ran as like a 4 support, and you see it from time to time. You've seen a mid like in pubs and stuff, and it feels like the position is kind of malleable in terms of where these heroes can go. I mean, mentioned Elder Titan. He's a pretty interesting strength support. Like he has interesting concepts, and the recently released Underlord is also a strength hero, but not a support, right? Like where would you put Underlord? A 4?
uh, See, the thing is, for core, I'd put him in off lane, like 9 times out of 10, just because like he is so good right now with his potential of like making everyone else hit for less damage, and his stun has the ability to catch those even through magic immunity. So personally, for me, like Underlord versus a Juggernaut is ideal scenario. Um, if I'm looking for something that he can do, though, actually can support, and there's a lot of people that can now support in that position with these like new low costing items. Yeah, Night Stalker is actually kind of decent still, in my opinion. He's not as good as the other ones that are available to the general idea of how the game needs to go. Um, but they still have that validity. I think that it's really important to have one really tanky support at this point, like you were mentioning, because if you have that one tanky support, it kind of they can kind of initiate a team fight easier that way. and you kind of need the supports to do that in this meta because there's a lot of ganking happening, and there's a lot of potentially losing out in a certain situation because there's just not enough. There's not enough upfront people to deal with the explosiveness.
Yeah.
So it's good to always keep that idea that okay, you can make the support one of the people who can tank, because if they die and they tank all that damage, okay, they did their job.
And if you trade it, like if you make a good trade, it's all for the better.
Right.
Yeah, and then that's why you see Elder Titan, I think, so popular in this meta, because he can initiate from afar, tank a bit of damage, and by the time you get in there, like maybe he's had his ult set up and everything like that. Like he has good initiation capabilities. Another hero you see played a lot because of like slacks and stuff is Omni Knight, a strength support that is pretty tanky. He has a lot of potential to have a lot of damage go by the wayside if he uses his ult correctly. It's interesting though, because all these heroes you build very much differently. I feel like they're varied in themselves as they are to other positions. You know what I mean? And like I don't feel like that's the same with some other, like I feel like with int supports, like you do the same thing with some of them, but I don't see that between the like strength supports as much. Like you're gonna build Earthshaker differently than you're going to build an Elder Titan, or you're going to build an Omni differently than you're going to build an Underlord, like if you're playing in the same position. Not that Underlord would ever maybe be a 5, but I don't know. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like that when you're strength supporting, that you have to fill something particular to the role. So if you're filling a certain style, then you have to go certain items to fill that style. Whereas if you're going the general intelligence hero, they kind of have like one or two styles in the first few minutes of how they need to react to certain things that are happening around the map. A lot of times it's like mana boots or um, tranquils, and that's like the only real way that you can go down for them. Whereas strength, there's a similar effect where you generally want those two items as a support, but there are the rare occasions that like on Kunkka for Lanham before he got nerfed a little bit, that you would use phase boots for him, and that's generally happens on these strength heroes that offer something new to the table that others wouldn't.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It really goes to show like the variety in heroes. Like this is what I was talking about, pushing off into any direction, and you can find some new thing. And these are really good examples, all. But so you mentioned Rubik as a possibility, and would you pick that? What would you pick that against? Like I'm trying to think like what you would think that would like in an offlane scenario. What would you pick that against?
There's a lot of things I would pick it against, because a lot of the reasons why you pick a hero, why you pick a support, is because it's okay if you get countered, because you're just a support and you're wanting to pick it early. So a lot of times when I pick a support, I'm just looking for the utility of what it can bring to the team, and not because I'm trying to like counter something. But if I am going to like have the ideal scenario where I'm like picking like second or third, and I know one of their core picks already, um, generally I would try to like grab it versus someone like maybe like Bat. Um, Bat is someone that like he has the potential of like punishing someone who's melee and not being able to like auto attack him out. Rubik has a really low base damage and doesn't have like the best auto attack. But the thing is that he has a stun that can actually pick him up, stun him for a second, and move him in a certain direction. With someone who has the ability to walk over terrain itself, it's really great to have that counter maneuverability present within a hero.
Even if it's just it's not a huge jump that you get from the lift, but that's a very good point. Anyone that controls terrain and stuff, or can go over terrain and can control certain things, like an Earthshaker comes to mind as well. Like if you can lift and throw someone back over, something like that after the stun's gone down. It's very good. With a pudge or something. I mean, there's so many things that affect kind of the lift, like or kind of affect the terrain, and like you said with the bat being pulled around. If you can just instantly pick up the bat, it's like it's not a problem anymore. You've solved that particular thing that would have been a problem to your Sven or anyone else that you're playing with that you picked into the bat. Because like we said earlier, there are heroes that can completely like make you way less effective, but you can still repick in the safe lane or move your lanes around a bit to have something to better combat that situation now.
Oh, most definitely. I think that,
and it's not always going to be a strength support. Like Flub's saying, sometimes you need to branch out and just kind of let the strength be on the other hero and use the support pick for something that's more practical.
Right. Because look at the Huskar idea. Huskar in those games, it's generally two intelligence heroes. One that's designed around keeping Huskar alive, like Dazzle or Oracle in the best case scenario, and just letting him go insane. Whereas if you look at the other side of the spectrum, if you go to like someone who can like stun them out for them, someone who's like trying to control the team fight, but is not trying to still not trying to tank, because that Huskar needs to be soaking as much damage as possible, because that's like the way that you're keeping him alive, right? So you need to like make sure they don't stun lock him down by like stunning out the rest of their team and just let him wreak havoc. So if you're in that scenario of you don't know what to pick for Rubik for instance, or any other hero, think about what they offer to stop the other team, and also think about what they offer to help out your team. Someone like Rubik is someone that I would classically pick up with a Kunkka, actually. Kunkka, I mean, you lift him up and you're going to get torrent hit. So they're going to be locked down for a longer amount of time. Any of these skill shots that take a second to line up, the classic combination of Mirana Rubik is one that we all know and love. There's just so much to offer your team. It needs to be something that offers something for what you're planning for your team, and something that can hopefully interact with the off lane.
Flub, how many guys have you thrown into arrows that would have been missed if you had not thrown them into the arrow? Let's get a Flub statistic here.
Man, I don't know. That's a tough question after all the games.
That's what I see you as, man. Like the guy saving the day, like the shot's way off, but you make it land. My answer is one time, but
I would more times than I can count, but I don't think that as I think that's me playing Rubik a lot, not and me playing Rubik a lot versus in like scenarios with like friends and stuff that weren't very comfortable with the game, instead of like a situation that like I'm kicking ass and like I did this because I'm the best. It's more of like
that's the Flub attitude we all know and love. I am actually a very good Mirana player. I love arrows. I'm very good at it. I'm like John Elway. If we're going to take a 90s football reference and throw it in here for fuck's sake. I'm very good with the arrow. I'm throwing them from downtown and it's landed right in their breadbasket every time, dude. I should go be a quarterback. But yeah, I have a great time with that. That's kind of taking us off our topic, but it's interesting that we're looking at this synergy here with manipulating another unit and being able to position them, because that helps the strength hero get more in position, right? Because we're lacking mobility, we can tank damage, so even if they turn on us, we'll probably win a man fight. And some of these heroes even have stuns or slows. Lifestealer's got open wounds, and Sven, has the stun. So you typically see some sort of ability to slow or cripple slightly. I mean, before the show, we were talking about Sanj being picked up occasionally on supports back in the day, so you could get that slow, because it's very good. I mean, slow is something in Dota that perhaps gets worse over time, but in the beginning of the game is incredibly valuable just from a numbers perspective. So, Flub, let's move on to the next part of our conversation and talk about how do you typically build a strength carry. I mean, I feel like there's more similarities there than how you build the strength supports. But what are you looking for mainly? Just stats, or are you looking for more to end the game?
It's very interesting with strength because there's a lot of ways that people can kind of move with them because their potential is generally more for an early game perspective. But there are ways to go around that and kind of go late game. Everyone knows the classic build of an alchemist, and he's so tanky to begin with that people will throw on that radiance, and that was something back in the day that actually a lot of strength carries would do. I actually remember Tree. He used to be different. I had a conversation with someone on Twitter about this. That when he was an older hero, people used to actually do like a carry Tree build.
Oh man,
And,
this reminds me. I'll tell my story after yours.
okay.
It's a Roland moment. So
Oh, those are always classics.
yeah,
So like people would actually like in like the crappier pubs back then, they would build like radiance on Tree and just like run around the trees being invisible and just like radiance burn people down.
and
Or
just
like,
tree slam him in the face.
yep, and then like he has so much damage, right? Because he has like an insane base attack damage and for the most heroes, and then adding the radiance damage on top of it, he would just like come out of sight and hit like a cannon, just boom, smack someone down when they're at like quarter health and kill them after the radiance burn. So there's like the radiance burn style of like living and trying to stay alive and using that advantage. And then there's the making yourself unkillable and just say, okay, you're not going to kill me. I'm going to push this tower. I'm actually going to push 3 towers, and I'm not even going to go anywhere near well. I'm just going to then go back and farm because I have so much health steal or regen or the ability to exist.
I like
Um,
Tree. I think Tree is my favorite strength support.
yeah,
He's just very interesting. His abilities are, I mean, he's got a little bit of everything. He can ward, he can go invisible, he can freeze people with his ult. So it's like a mini, I don't know, Ravage or something. But
right.
he also just stacks the stats. So this is the Roland story. We were playing with a fan not too long ago, and he was just like, hey, and we're like, hey, let's pick something good and win. And the first thing the fan says is that he's going to go Tree mid carry. And we were just like, what? And even Roland was like, what? And that's how you know it's crazy. This guy proceeded to go like 30-2 with a mid tree. He was just booking it across the map. Like, you thought you were safe, dude. Like, you're farming under tower. Nope, tree man runs in, dude, and just socks you in the face, and you're dead in like 2 hits. Like, this is like a couple patches ago, but still, like, it was very interesting to see. Like, you might think something looks stupid, and then people do it, and you're just like, wow, that works? Okay. And then Roland tried to do it. This is the caveat. Tried to do it the next game and just got his ass whooped. And it was just like, oh, okay. We could have just taken the win.
You have to know the limits of the hero, no matter how you do it. But it's funny that stuff like that still exists. I mean, that was like 2 patches ago, so that was probably like what, like year ago, half a year ago, somewhere around there.
It was a while ago.
But still, that's that's funny that stuff like that still comes up, and you can see the limits of the hero, but you play with what the strength of what you can do with your hero. And I feel like a lot of times people will look at strength heroes nowadays and they'll say, you can't carry this scenario because we need someone who can do more with it. We need a carry that has the potential to really like kind of come off his hinges. And it's not the same. It's not like the same role when you put a strength in there. A lot of times, whenever I put in the idea of a Wraith King or Nakes or someone that's like we got Sven. Sven's kind of an exception to the rule because he can like cleave and stuff, and he can take down big camps. And but there's like Slaughter and things like that used to be a thing where you use your potential of being so good in the mid game by getting that essential farm and guaranteeing that essential farm to then push a scenario of either like pushing towers or getting an early Roshan, or just getting something that's really great for your team.
Yeah, it's more objective based than and these heroes that you're talking about, like Slardar and stuff, used to just be like huge aggressive troublemakers. You get the armlet, the blink, you'd go and blink in, you couldn't kill them, like they just mark you, and like Slardar specifically would just cause trouble all over the map, cause chaos. But this meta, it feels a little bit more objective based than ever before. You know what I mean? Like you can lose fights late game that'll just lose you the game, but early game there and mid game there's a little bit more forgiveness when it comes to getting ganked a couple times. You're not just straight out of the game due to some of these changes. I mean, largely in fact due to items like the tome and stuff like that. That can kind of help players that are just completely nullified out of the game to have a little bit of something to get back. We have more camps on the map from back then. If you think about it, with that other camp by mid, that the large camp, which was an interesting ad. So you even have more gold on the map. You have the Iron Talon. You have all this other stuff that, as an offlaner, if you get knocked out, you're not just going to go try to roam and get kills. You're going to go to the jungle and you're going to try to get back in the game that way, and because it's much safer, right?
Right. It's the key of the game is kind of move towards a safer play, and that could be just how maybe we're used to in our region of play, and it's kind of different in other regions. There's always the game's always changing and shifting, but it feels like as time moves on, people get more serious about the game, and people get more serious about the potential of taking risks. And it's kind of sad to see, in my opinion, as someone who's a very aggressive player. Um, it's important to know when you need to take the risk and when you need to go into a certain scenario, but you're never going to find that out whenever people are always playing these safe drafts that have the potential to do X, Y, and Z, and we're always trying to wait for the pros to, have a situation of like, okay, they invented this. Like, let's look at PA support. Like, no one saw that coming at all, but that's the thing is
and
like,
now everyone sees it going, right?
right, right. And that's like what people do now. And it's like, well, if we're always reacting to something that is tried and true, then we're never going to be ahead of the curve. We're never going to find out what makes you a pro. You're just copying and copying until the certain point that you just you feel like you've understood the game, but you're just copying.
Like
It's about
classical music, right? Someone could play Beethoven 100 times and you're just like, meh, by this point, because it's been done. The man Beethoven himself did it. It's pretty, it's amazing, and you revel in that through seeing someone else do it. But really, what's magical about something like this, and Dota 2, and I know I compared Dota 2 to Beethoven, hopefully like that doesn't offend anybody, but I mean, in terms of like the amount of depth, Dota 2 is kind of like an instrument. Like I'm starting to realize like it's limitless in its depth, and you can do crazy new different things. And those things can be potentially very strong. And if you're ahead of that curve, like Flub mentioned, you are very, very much rewarded for that. If you've done your own analysis, if you know what you're playing, if you know how to go forward, I mean, that's how you're rewarded. And sure, you can go on Dota Buff and see Omni's like the top win rate, and just grind Omni too, and just go with statistics on your side. But I mean, there's something soulless about that. You know what I mean? And the game has so much soul when it comes to trying to figure out your own way to play.
right. And it's also you can mimic someone to a certain point, but and it's good to understand it and get their perspective on it. But if you're not like coming up with the play style that you play in, if you're trying to copy someone else's play style, you're never going to come off as an authentic player of creating something that is possible. It's always going to be something that's like you've seen before and it has to work this way, so you don't know the potential of whenever something switches up that you could move it in this slight way and it would make you twice as effective.
Which, to be honest, is exactly what I experienced. I mean, I was playing only 4 to 5 heroes, and then once they weren't strong, that obtuseness cost me hugely.
Yeah.
Because I was still thinking about the game the old way. Like, like a guy who played high school football and like was in the papers and stuff, and like I still wear my Letterman's jacket around. I was like, I was that good once, you know, but I'm not anymore because the game's changed and I didn't keep up with the curve. So you got to keep up with that curve. Don't just play strength. I feel like this is a pretty good primer in terms of why you would pick that, how you go about supporting such a lane, and the warning signs you look for. So I don't really have too much more to add. This is going to segue us into our item of the week. Surprise. That was my trumpet. It is the armlet this week, so we wanted to do some content packaged around that. Flub, do you have anything else to add to close out the strength safe lane conversation?
I think that we've kind of hit on everything that's important at this point. I think that it's good to just remember that mix it up when you're trying the safe lane. Maybe not necessarily do something that's like always failing at this at this patch. Not necessarily go into something that has like a 30% win rate and expect to do well, but mix it up with the things that are at like 50% win rate or 55% win rate instead of the things that are always at the top of the charts.
Because if there are things that are inherently good in a patch, then there are most certainly things that are also inherently bad. And there are things in this patch that, because of items, like Ursi's favorite item, the raindrop, certain heroes are just nullified. So at least their early harassment capability is neutered, at least. But with that being said, guys, we are going to move into our discussion about the armlet. We got a lot of involvement on Twitter about this vote, and I'm glad to have seen that people are getting involved. And this is just kind of an example of the content we're going to be bringing to you over the next little bit. We're going to get the show more involved, more tuned into the pulse. Flub's our PR man. They don't let me talk to people. They after I'm done with the podcast, they just power me down because I'm not a human being. I'm just a podcasting robot to them. They just fold me up and put me in the closet. But thank you so much for getting involved. We're going to keep that coming to you week after week after week here at Tryhard Tuesdays. So the armlet is an interesting item. It's something that, like that depth I'm talking about, it's something that's on a whole other level in terms of... in terms of items. It's a very, very unique item. It gives you the ability to keep yourself alive in situations you would not have been purely based upon your ability to toggle this thing. It gives pretty good stats. It is overall a very, very interesting item. So, Flub, what do you think about the armlet?
I think that it's a very strong item. It's something that when you're looking for the extra strength buff, it's very good on strength heroes. It's also very good for something that like is generally a character that you need to like keep alive that doesn't deal dot damage. If you have dot damage on the other team, it's a very risky pickup, and it's one that I would suggest against because obviously you're even if you toggle really well, the tick is most likely going to tick in increments that are very fast, and it will be really hard to pull off the drop your health down really quick.
Can do
and
it.
Pull back up.
You can do it. Like, what's that ability? And I never play him. That Witch Doctor uses. That's his damage over time. What's that called again?
Maledict.
Maledict. Yeah, I'll always be like, it'll be like, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll just do it right, dead. You know, it's very hard, but you can do it sometimes. It just has to be a quick toggle, and it needs to be like right in the middle of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's possible. It's just not the way to go.
It's not reliable. Yeah. So just to kind of give a primer, Armlet of Mordigian. I think that's how you say it. Mordigian. I hear. Whatever.
I think so. I just have called it Armlet for so long. I know people used to tell me what it was, how to say it. But...
I would say Mordigian. Just use both G sounds because there's two G's. But it reads, Weapon of choice among brutes. That's me. The bear sacrifices his life energy to gain immense strength and power. The ability is called Unholy Strength. That gives you... Oh, no, these are just the stats, yeah. 7 health regeneration, 9 attack damage, 5 armor, and 25 attack speed. It's a pretty good item. When it's toggled off, it just gives that 7 health, regeneration, 5 armor, 25 attack speed, and 9 attack damage, by the way. But when toggled on, it just gives you instantly 500 health. You have 7.75 health regen, 9 armor, 25 attack speed, and 40 attack damage. So the attack speed actually doesn't change when you turn it on, but you do get more damage. And let's not forget that strength heroes get 65 attack damage. Other heroes get 40. So, I mean, the item gives a little bit of stats. I mean, not something that would be incredibly good value on its own if you were just to have the stats, but Unholy Strength, it makes it worth it. So I know you have some interesting ideas on the armlet flub and building it on support. So why don't you take us into that? I really want to hear like your primer on that.
Okay. So there's the idea of that that everyone knows you put it on a strength hero, you gain the maximum out of it. So there's something that kind of Ursi brought up to me in the past couple weeks, and it's something that like I've actually known a style of this for a while, but he's been bringing back the idea of putting it on supports. And the idea is that you can toggle in really risky scenarios, and it's about keeping you alive as a factor. The attack speed isn't like what's important about it. It's the giving you a lot of armor, which is usually lower on the support side, because generally the supports are really squishy intelligence people, or squishy, generally squishy agi heroes like Venge or something like that. And then there's also obviously the strength, when that's self-explanatory. But the idea for this is that it gives you that armor, that big HP for that second, so that you can like toggle it. So if a big blast is coming, you can kind of stay alive with it. And it gives you a constant regen outside of just giving you that extra life, so that you can kind of exist in pushes and kind of have that ability to just stay there and be relevant.
Without being, a 1 or 2 shot kill after a fight, you are now given relevance to push because you can just toggle the armlet on, stand back. When you start to get a little low, back up, That's another skill that would be very good, and like I didn't think so at first when you were explaining it, but the logic is pretty good. The item is pretty good for that reason, and it still gives stats. So I don't know, maybe I'll see something like that down the road. I don't know. I wonder if like I know Armlet's already very good, but I wonder if we're going to see like some strength items get buffed, like the Mask of Madness and stuff like that. But I guess we'll see how that will impact the meta. And maybe Armlet itself will get, I don't know, a replacement for its recipe or something.
Yeah.
Like who knows? Like who knows what they could do next? But they're kind of like reforming each level of the game, each stage of the game rather, with like micro items that build into larger items. So I don't know. We could see it happen with the Mask of Madness and the Armlet or something. I don't know. But that's pretty interesting. I'm pretty good at toggling. I have spent a lot of time like really trying to be okay at it. And I wouldn't say I'm like above average or anything, but I just kind of feel like I understand when you're supposed to toggle. And I always just think about it this way, and maybe this will help people at home. Have it turned on when you're getting hit, and have it turned off when you're not getting hit. It sounds so obvious and stupid, but like conceptualize in your mind when that individual bit of damage is going to hit you, and that's when you should be turning your armlet on. So it hits you as that 500 is going up. Know when the next bolt's coming in, and if you can take it, you can take it. But if you need to toggle off when the last hit just hit you, and you should be okay. You know what I mean? Like wait for that audible thud of the tower bolt or whatever hitting you, or the right click. And I mean, it gets trickier with other heroes because their attack speed goes up, of course, throughout the game. But for other stuff, it's just like you just gotta be able to know last hit animations and how you get hit, and be able to conceptualize that that's when that armlet's going on, and it's going off right after. You know what I mean? When you're not getting hit, it's off. If you're really low health, if you're not, you can leave it on sometimes. And it also depends on the hero. But that's something that's helped me. And honestly, just playing all these, I played tons of Wraith King, Life Stealer, Chaos Knight, Alchemist. Like all these heroes that get armlet, and I've just realized it's one of those items that can make it seem like you're gonna lose a fight, and then suddenly you get a good toggle and you win, and they try to turn and you just like kill them. And so there's not a lot like that in this game, right? Usually health is like either you see the other hero, you see the dazzle in the woods that can heal, and you're like, okay, that's a potential risk. But with people thinking that everyone's like bad with an armlet, or it's not like good even at all levels, it's very good. Like you just got to use it and learn how to use it, and it becomes a very good item.
Almost definitely. It's something that some people use a little too zealously, though, and I do want to touch on that before, because I am saying that you can use it on intelligence and you can use it on strength heroes, but there's some people who like to use armlet on PA, especially,
Yeah, I've seen
and
that.
it's a little it's a little it's a little off because yeah, there's a percent chance that you will not be hit whenever the armlet drops. But I feel like okay, if you're toggling armlet correctly and it's an armlet game to build for it, um, you're not gonna need that percent chance to stay alive. If you armlet toggle like Wazoo was just describing, you're gonna have the health back at the right points of time, and it doesn't really help you out in that standpoint. Whereas if you're if you get like a damage item with her, if you get that percentage that will like straight up boost her damage her damage and including her her crit, it just makes it amplify that much more, killing them faster, not even worrying about the potential of tanking damage for a really long time. It's kind of it's kind of awkward, and with the idea of like supports coming out, I've seen some people like trying to do this, trying to put on armlet within that idea so that she can like stay alive longer. But she has so much potential to do other things in a fight, and the strength only gives her health. It doesn't give her damage. It doesn't give her any bonus on that throwing dagger. So truly try to think out what you're trying to achieve with an item, like what we're saying, what armlet's strengths are, and don't depend on an ability to help something to to help you in a way that you misplay. Because you never want to be trying to misplay. You want to be trying to use the item to its full potential.
Right. And it's probably the perfect example of a risk versus reward item. I mean, you're if you toggle wrong, you're just dead. So it's like that's why people don't get it. I mean, we talked earlier about how people want to put themselves in a more statistically advantageous position, but this item, the error is on the human. You know what I mean? Like you can possibly turn fights. That support argument's a very good one in a way, because suddenly you go from being a 1 to 2 shot kill to oh shit, I can't kill him at all, and then the team's backing you up. You know what I mean? And so like that initiation point that was kind of taken as a given before is now something that entails risk for the other team if you can toggle correctly. And that's what I
Right.
look at the armlet for even strength heroes is it's that risk versus reward. But if you can be confident in your toggling and you know be able to toggle past like 3 different things hitting you, then you know you have a good shot. You have a good shot to be able to turn fights. But okay, so I think we're gonna do a new round of items. Flub, do you have anything else to add before I move us on?
No,
Okay,
I think that we've touched on anything. We're good.
cool. Yeah, we're gonna do a new round of items. The Helm of the Dominator and the Hood of Defiance were left in this round, but those haven't gotten the votes really. Maybe we'll cycle them back in later. So I kind of want to talk about Yasha, Manta, or Sanjin Yasha, I guess, and what they mean for this meta. Because you saw Sanjin Yasha get built a ton. Now it's not built at all. And Manta is something that you see built constantly on the Agi hero, and Yasha in general would be a cool general discussion that could build into that. So just we'll set up the poll. You guys can vote for it, and we will make sure to do the item that you guys want to do and form a show around it. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the show, guys. Thanks for joining us once again. Flub, why don't you tell people where they can reach you, man?
All right, you guys can reach me at my Twitter handle, which is flub at flubdota with 2 B's, and you can also catch me on Wednesday nights. I'll be playing in the in-houses. This week I may not be around. I'm gonna try to make it. It's just the season of midweek. I mean midterms. So uh, got a lot to
The
do this
season of
week.
loneliness and despair.
Yeah, yeah. So all those who are in school right now, they feel the pain, and I wish you luck. But I'll try to be there this week. If not, you guys can always catch me next week, and I'll be around. I'm usually there on Wednesday nights for at least one or two games. So
Cool. Yeah, you can get at Grouty Dota. He is someone who kind of like leads the in-houses, and I guess he's like the MC of the in-houses. Never thought I called Grouty an MC, but there you go. Check those out. They do a good job. It's very well done, and we'd love to have as many people as possible. You can find me at .p_wazoo on Twitter. Send me a follow. I'll follow you back, and we can be friends, and I can get you the community information if you'd like to get involved. Anyone else can really do that too in the .p community. Visit us at the defenseofthepatients.com. You can find our YouTube at .ptv1, and you can find our Twitch at .ptv. Wanted to send a special thank you to our sound engineer, Tom. We sound clear and beautiful. I've never felt so pretty in my entire life. And also like to shout out to every other community member that makes this possible. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a great show. And as always, remember, stay hard and you stay classy.